My name is Aaron, a graduate student in psychology at California State University. The experiment was my idea, an attempt to find out what really happens when a person goes 7 days without sleep. At first, it was only a theoretical paper, but under the pressure of final term research, we decided to make it real. There were 5 of us: me, my girlfriend Emma, my best friend Luke and his girlfriend Jessie, and Anna, the only single one. Quiet, analytical, almost too calm. She was obsessed with dreams. "Sleep isn't rest," she once said in class. "It's a barrier, a defense. When people stop sleeping, the barrier breaks." We laughed at her back then. Now I wish we hadn't. We rented an old 2-story house far out of town. White walls, gray roof, the kind of place you see in 1970s horror films. The crooked mailbox still had half-peeled letters that read Hollow Field 13. Inside, we set up cameras and sensors everywhere. The signal was bad, the air dry, and still perfect isolation. On the first night, we gathered in the living room. Energy drinks, coffee, laptops, the camera's red light blinking in the corner. 7 days, no sleep, Luke grinned. Last one standing wins. Jessie laughed. And the loser posts a confession video saying they're a coward. Emma leaned against my shoulder and whispered, "Aaron, are you sure about this?" "We'll be fine," I told her. "It's just a test of endurance." Around 1 a.m., we started a poker game to stay awake. Anna suggested adding a rule. The loser must reveal a secret they never told anyone. Laughter filled the room, echoing off the old wood walls. But on the playback later, that same laughter sounded warped, stretched, as if the tape were melting. A chill crawled up my spine. By 3 a.m., we were all fading. Jessie yawned. Emma rubbed her temples. Luke kept muttering stats about REM cycles. "I hate mirrors," Anna said suddenly. "Why?" I asked. "Because at 3 a.m., the person in the mirror isn't you." Silence. The furnace hummed like a whisper. Then the camera flickered. On the screen, we could see ourselves at the table. But in the corner of the room, a tall, dark shape was standing, facing the wall. I turned around. Nothing there. Only the wall clock ticking, steady as a heartbeat. "Probably a signal glitch," I said, trying to sound calm. Still, Emma wouldn't stop trembling. She swore someone was standing in the kitchen, watching her. We went to check. Nothing but the dripping faucet. When I turned off the light, the dripping changed rhythm. 1 drop, another, pause, 1 more, like someone counting down. We made it to morning. Sunlight filled the room, too bright, almost colorless. Everyone looked gray. I brewed coffee, my hands shaking so hard I spilled it. Emma didn't eat. She said something was moving inside her stomach. Luke's eyes were wide open, forcing themselves not to blink. Anna just stared into the mirror, smiling faintly. "Why are you smiling?" I asked. She turned slowly. "I'm not." That day we tried to log data, but our brains were fog. Around nightfall, the sounds in the house changed. Too many echoes for the size of the rooms. When I climbed the stairs, I heard footsteps behind me, but every door was shut. At the end of the hallway, a mirror reflected me, except the reflection was a second late. "This house is messed up," Jessie whispered. "Stop it," I told her, but my own voice shook. Then, at 3:15 a.m., every light blinked out. Static roared from the cameras. And under that noise, faint but clear, a voice breathed beside my ear. "Don't sleep. Stay awake. A little longer." No one slept that night. No one ever mentioned 7 days again. I don't remember how the second day started. Maybe it never really ended. My eyes burned, my thoughts slowed, but my heart wouldn't stop pounding. It felt like my body and mind were out of sync, like I was stuck half a second behind myself. Emma sat slumped on the couch, her eyes rimmed red. Luke scribbled unreadable notes in his research journal. His handwriting looked like the frantic scratches of an animal. Jessie stared out the window at the dead tree in the yard. When the wind moved its branches, the shadow on the wall looked like someone hanging there. And Anna, she was the calmest of all. Too calm. Her mouth kept twitching at the corner, as if she were listening to something the rest of us couldn't hear. "I think there's someone here," Emma whispered. "Stop," I said. "We're just exhausted." But even as I said it, I wasn't sure I believed it anymore. We tried to eat, but the food tasted wrong. Jessie bit into a piece of bread and gagged. "It's rotten." I checked the bag. It had only been opened that morning, yet mold already crawled across it, black and green. When I blinked, it looked normal again. By mid-afternoon, sunlight poured through the windows, but it wasn't warm. It was a dull gray glow, like the light in a morgue. We turned on Luke's laptop to review the footage from last night. Everything looked normal, until 3:15 a.m. On screen, I lifted my head and smiled straight into the camera. A frozen, empty smile. But I swear I never did that. "Maybe a glitch," I muttered. Anna leaned closer to the screen, her voice barely a whisper. "No, that's not a glitch. That's the version of you from the other side. The one who's still dreaming." We all froze. She tilted her head, as if listening again. "They're saying the walls are thinning," she said softly. "They can see us now." "Anna, stop it!" I shouted. She turned to look at me, and for a second, I felt like she was seeing through me. Night came. My vision blurred. The edges of the room pulsed like breathing skin. Jessie screamed suddenly and pointed at the mirror. The tall, faceless man was standing behind us. We turned. Nothing there. But in the mirror, he stayed, slowly raising one long finger to his lips. We didn't dare approach the mirror again. Emma broke down, sobbing. "I can't do this anymore. I want to go home." I rushed to the door, but the handle jammed. The lock wouldn't turn. I pulled, kicked, slammed, nothing. And then, from the crack under the door, came the sound of breathing. Slow, deliberate. Like someone pressing their ear to the wood, listening. At 3 a.m., the footsteps started. Not inside the hallway, above us. Something was walking on the roof. Step. 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 Then it stopped right over our heads. Jessie pressed her hands to her ears, whispering, "Stop, stop, stop," over and over. Luke grabbed her shoulders. "We're ending this tomorrow, Aaron. I mean it." "Just a few more days," I told him. "We'll make history." I don't know why I said that. Maybe pride, maybe madness. The third morning, Emma's skin had gone pale gray. She kept staring at the kitchen knife on the counter. "What are you doing?" I asked. "I just want to feel something real," she said, and drew the blade across her arm. Blood ran down her wrist, dark, sluggish, and she smiled. "The pain proves I'm still awake." I grabbed her hand, pressing on the wound. The blood seeped between my fingers, but when it hit the floor, it didn't spread. The wood absorbed it, drinking it in until it vanished. That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't. But I still dreamed. I saw the tall man, standing behind the door, his body bending at impossible angles. He pointed at me, his voice 1,000 whispers layered together. "Sleep is the wall. You've torn it down." I jolted upright, soaked in sweat. The lights were still on. Everyone else sat motionless in the living room, eyes wide open. None of them had slept either. But Emma's eyes, they weren't hers anymore. They were glossy, black, bottomless. When she looked at me, I felt something cold inside my skull shift. Anna was writing in her notebook again. I leaned over her shoulder. Her handwriting was warped, almost clawed, and the words read, "The 5th day, he comes then." That wasn't her handwriting. The wind outside began to moan. The walls groaned like they were alive. Somewhere deep inside the house, I heard a faint, rhythmic sound, like a heartbeat. 4 days left, I told myself. But the truth was already crawling beneath our skin. I don't know what day it is anymore. My phone still says Thursday, and the clock on the wall has stopped at 3:15 a. The cursed time that keeps repeating, like the house itself is stuck in a loop. We tried to leave. The front door wouldn't open. The deadbolt spun uselessly. The hinges felt fused to the frame. We smashed at the windows, but instead of breaking, the glass flexed like a sheet of plastic. When Luke hurled a chair, it bounced back and nearly shattered his arm. "This place is alive," he whispered, holding his wrist. "It's breathing." Anna sat in the corner, giggling under her breath. Her laugh was dry and papery, like sand sliding across concrete. "I told you," she murmured. "We broke the wall. Now it can see us." Emma stared blankly from the couch, lips moving in slow motion. "Someone's singing," she said. "Can't you hear it?" At first, I thought she was hallucinating. Then I heard it too, soft, muffled humming, slipping out from inside the walls. The melody was familiar. It was the lullaby Emma's mother used to sing when she was a child. But her mother had been dead for years. Jessie rushed to comfort her, but froze halfway across the room. She pointed at the floor. The wooden boards were swelling, bulging upward like something underneath was breathing. Then a thick, dark liquid began seeping through the cracks, viscous, black-red, reeking of rust and rot. I pressed a towel against it, but the fabric hissed and steamed where the fluid touched it. "It's breathing," Jessie whispered. "The floor is breathing." We backed away toward the dining room. The lights flickered. Anna sat on the table, watching the black ooze creep toward the doorway. "It's coming," she murmured. "The wall's gone. Sleep's gone." "Shut up," Luke snapped, grabbing her by the shoulders. "Dream, wall, waking? It's all the same," she said, and smiled. Her smile split too wide. The skin at the corners of her mouth cracked. Her eyes trembled like they were vibrating. Luke stumbled back. She fell to the floor, convulsing, a dark froth bubbling from her lips. When I knelt to help her, I heard tiny voices laughing inside the foam. "Don't touch her," Jessie screamed. "That's not Anna anymore." We dragged her into the storage room and barricaded the door with furniture. She screamed all night, low, guttural, like several people trapped inside one throat. When dawn came, the screaming stopped. We opened the door. She was gone. Only a single black handprint remained on the wall, too long, too thin to be human. Luke turned on me then. "You did this. You're dosing us, aren't you? Some chemical test?" I wanted to hit him, but I couldn't deny that even I was losing control. Every time I blinked, I saw a tall shadow standing in the corners, motionless, patient. And when I turned, it was gone. But in the camera footage, it was always right behind me. Emma deteriorated fastest. She started talking to the air. "I hear you," she'd whisper. "Just stop singing. Please stop singing." Once, I woke in the middle of the night and saw her sitting at the edge of the bed, smiling into the dark. "What are you smiling at?" I asked. She turned. Her eyes were pitch black. "He said if I stay, we can finally rest." Then I noticed her shadow. It wasn't moving. She turned her head. The shadow stayed sitting. I bolted downstairs, desperate to get out. The front door was there again, but when I opened it, I didn't see the street. Just another hallway, identical to the one behind me. Same walls, same pictures, same flickering light. I ran through it 20 steps, 50, until I ended up back in the living room. "Aaron," Jessie whispered, trembling. "We're trapped. He's playing with us." Her face looked hollow, her lips cracked and gray. "He won't let us sleep," she said. "He won't let us die." Luke snapped. He grabbed a metal rod and stormed upstairs, screaming. There were crashes, breaking glass, then silence. When he came back down, he was covered in blood, smiling vacantly. "I killed it," he said. But in his hand, tangled between his fingers, was a fistful of Emma's hair. Jessie screamed and lunged at him. They fell to the floor, clawing at each other. I tried to stop them, but my body felt drained, hollow. The clock on the wall spun wildly, then stopped again at 3:15. The house exhaled. The lights burst. Shadows rippled like liquid around us. A voice filled the air, vibrating in the walls, the floor, even inside my skull. "You broke the wall. Now wake up." The ground shook. Furniture slid. The plaster split open, and blackness poured out. Thick, alive, forming a shape. A tall, faceless man, his head tilting slightly, arms dangling like ropes. He didn't move. The world moved around him. Jessie bolted for the door, pounding on it, screaming. The thing raised one hand, fingers long and sharp as knives. A single motion. Silence. Jessie's body went rigid, still standing, as her head drooped sideways like a marionette cut from its strings. I collapsed. My breathing rasped in my chest. The red recording light of the camera blinked on and off, steady, heartbeat-like. And from somewhere deep inside the darkness, I heard Emma's voice. "Aaron!" I looked up. She stood in the hallway, holding my experiment notes. Her face was calm, gentle. "Why are you still here?" I whispered. "Because we never left." The walls around her shimmered. The shadows beneath her feet rose like smoke, curling up her legs, wrapping around her waist. She didn't fight. She smiled. "Go to sleep, Aaron," she said softly. "Sleep means going home." The darkness swallowed her whole. Her smile lingered in the air like a photograph burned into light. I fell to my knees, gasping. The entire house smelled of blood and static. The cameras kept blinking. And I realized we weren't in the real world anymore. But even then, I couldn't sleep. I don't know if I'm still awake. The concept of time has disintegrated. Day and night have blended into one long gray haze. The air feels thick, like breathing through a dream that refuses to end. The house, it's alive. I can feel it. The walls inhale and exhale in slow rhythm. The floors pulse beneath my feet like veins under skin. I sit in the living room. Everyone else is gone. Jessie is dead. Luke vanished. Emma swallowed by shadows. Anna, I don't even want to think about her. I should run, but every door leads back to the same room. The doors keep moving. Sometimes they're on the wall. Sometimes the ceiling. Once I saw one inside the mirror, its surface bulging, beating, as if with a pulse. I try to count my breaths. 1, 2, 3. But another voice inside me whispers, 4. It's not my voice. The air ripples. Furniture lifts off the ground as if gravity has forgotten it exists. The walls ooze blood. The TV flickers on by itself. On screen, I see the footage from the surveillance cameras. There I am, sitting in the living room, staring at the screen. But then, the version of me inside the screen slowly turns his head toward the camera and smiles. That awful wrong smile again. I stumble back. The TV cuts to static. Footsteps upstairs. Heavy, slow, dragging. I grab my flashlight, And as the beam swings, I see shadows bending along the walls, but they're not mine. I climb the stairs. Each step creaks like a whisper. Awake ones! Must go back to sleep. At the end of the hallway, a dim light spills from Anna's room. Someone's singing, a faint, broken lullaby, half mechanical, half human. I push the door open. The room is filled with photographs. Hundreds of them. All of us sleeping. Emma, Luke, Jesse, Anna, and me. Each photo shows us lying somewhere inside this house, eyes half open, expressions frozen. I pick up one photo of myself asleep on the couch, eyes glimmering faintly. And behind me stands a tall, faceless figure, bent over, one finger pressed to its lips. Silence. Something moves in the corner. I swing the flashlight. The darkness rises, slowly forming into a shape taller than any human, limbs stretched too far, its mouth the only thing visible, a wide, twisting crack splitting where a face should be. When it speaks, its voice is hundreds at once. Men, women, children, all whispering together. You came where you don't belong. Now you can't leave. I back away, hitting the table. A picture frame crashes to the floor, the mirror inside shattering. Each shard reflects a different version of me, one crying, one laughing, one screaming silently. I run downstairs. But the staircase no longer leads down. It stretches endlessly, like a throat swallowing me. The walls are covered with our research notes, written in blood. The words crawl, alive, reshaping themselves into sentences. Don't wake up. He's below. The ground quivers. The house hums, deep and low, like a heartbeat under the floor. And then comes the ringing of the clock. 3:15, again. Always 3:15. A door appears at the end of the hallway. Behind it, faint light, like dawn. I run. Just as my hand grips the knob, a voice whispers behind my ear. Awake ones don't steal dreams. I spin around. He's there. The tall man. Close enough that I can see the shape of veins under the gray translucent skin. His fingers curl around my throat, cold and slick like worms. I struggle clawing at him. My nails sink into his flesh. But it's not flesh, it's mist. It parts and reforms, as if my hand is passing through smoke. He leans close. His mouth stretches from cheek to cheek, a wound that smiles. You think this is a dream? He hisses. No, Aaron. This is what comes after you wake up. The world collapses. I fall through the floor, sinking into endless black. The air is thick like water. Voices surround me, whispering in waves. Sleep is the wall. You tore it down. Welcome home. I crash into something soft, a mattress. I open my eyes. Morning sunlight spills through the window. Emma sits beside the bed, smiling. Good morning, she says. You slept all day. Everything looks normal. Clean walls, bright light, no blood, no shadows. I get up, dizzy. But when I look in the mirror, my eyes are completely black. Behind the reflection, a hand presses against the glass, fingers long and thin, matching mine perfectly. I can't scream, my throat won't move. Emma's voice drifts from behind me, soft and steady. Shh, don't wake the others. 2 more days and the experiment ends. I turn. The others are sitting at the table. Luke, Jesse, Anna, smiling at me. Their eyes are empty, their skin pale as paper. In one voice, they all say, Good morning, Aaron. You're finally awake. And that's when I realize we never slept, and we never woke up. I don't know if I'm alive anymore. Time has collapsed in on itself. The same moments repeating, blending, twisting. Maybe we've been here forever. They're still sitting in the living room. Emma, Luke, Jesse, Anna. Their faces are pale, their smiles motionless. When I move, their eyes follow me, but their bodies don't. Like puppets waiting for someone to pull the strings again. "You're awake now, Aaron," Emma says softly. Her voice is calm, melodic, but there's no breath behind it. "You don't have to be afraid. We finished the experiment." Her lips move, but her chest doesn't rise. I stumble backward, hitting the table. The laptop screen flashes on by itself, the feed from the house cameras still running. On the screen, I see all 5 of us lying on the floor, eyes wide open, bodies rigid. The camera slowly pans to the far wall, where a dark, tall shape is forming. Bending forward, its faceless head nearly touching the lens. Then I hear it. That same layered voice, 1,000 whispers in one. Awake souls are the easiest to enter. I slam the laptop shut. "This isn't real," I shout, but my voice cracks into static. When I look up, Emma is standing right in front of me, too close. Her head tilts slightly, her smile stretches too wide. "Aaron?" she says, her voice overlapping with another deeper tone. "Did you really think sleep was just rest?" Her words echo in my skull. Sleep is the wall. When the wall falls, they come through. The floor beneath her darkens. Her shadow spreads like spilled ink, snaking toward me. I try to step back, but something cold grabs my ankle. Luke's hand. Pale, gray, reaching up from beneath the floorboards. "Don't go," he says, his voice distant, muffled by layers of earth. "We're all waiting for you." I kick free. The wood splits open, revealing a black pit beneath the house, a moving, liquid void filled with faces. Hundreds of them, ours. Their mouths move in unison, whispering, "Don't wake up. Don't wake up." I stumble backward until my shoulders hit the wall. The wall ripples like water, then bulges outward, forming a shape, a door. I don't think, I just run. When I push it open, there's no outside, only a gray horizon, endless and silent. The sky looks like fog frozen in glass. The ground is soft, spongy. Far ahead, hanging upside down in the air, I see another house, the same one. I walk forward. Each step sinks slightly, and with every step, the ground murmurs, whispering words that sound like thought. "This is the real world, the one you tried to escape." I reach the door. It opens before I touch it. Inside stands the tall man. His body is impossibly thin, his skin translucent. In his chest is a vertical slit, glowing faintly from within. "Who are you?" I whisper. He smiles, though he has no mouth. "I'm what you left behind, the part that waits for you every time you close your eyes." He raises a hand. In his palm appears a vision. We're all there in the lab, bright lights overhead, sensors on our temples. The professor's voice echoes through a speaker. Subjects entering REM phase, brain activity spiking. Begin observation. I stare. My stomach turns cold. We were already asleep. All of this, the house, the experiment, the fear, was happening inside the dream. The figure leans closer. "You wanted to know the purpose of sleep?" he says. "It's to shut the door." "And you opened it." I fall backward, the ground dissolving under my feet. Voices surround me, screaming, laughing, crying. Faces swirl past me. Jesse, Luke, Emma, Anna, all grinning, their mouths splitting wide, their eyes black and endless. Welcome back, Aaron. I jolt awake, or think I do. I'm in the lab. Bright, sterile light, the sound of machines beeping. The professor's face on the other side of the glass, panicked. Subject 5. Aaron. Brainwave irregularities. Is he awake? I can't speak. My throat won't move. I glance sideways. The others lie beside me, motionless, electrodes still attached. But under their eyelids, something is moving, like other eyes, staring from beneath the skin. I rip off the wires, staggering toward the exit. This isn't real, I scream. The lab dissolves, the walls bleeding into black liquid, the lights bending inward. I burst through the door, and I'm back in the house. Same couch, same mirror, same clock. 3:15. The TV flickers on, showing me sitting there, staring blankly into the lens. My reflection smiles. The voice that comes through the static isn't mine. Welcome to the waking world. The screen goes dark. In the silence that follows, I hear the last whisper. Deep, cold, and close. Sleep is over, Aaron. From now on, no one wakes again. Everything fades, until all that remains is the red light of the camera. Blinking. Blinking. Like a heartbeat trapped inside the dark.